Welcome back, everybody, to NFL Weekly Picks, Week 12. Here with Brett from Go Bills Podcast. Go subscribe to him. We had pretty good weeks last week. Brett went 11-4. I went 13-2. We both hit the upset, and we're looking pretty good. Brett's at 108-59. I'm at 103-62. And again, we're gonna be quick. I just did the film study. My voice is sore from the game still, and I'm tired, and I'm sure Brett's tired too. So we're going to run through this probably quicker than we did before. And so without further ado, the Browns had a lot of people pop up on their injury report. They're not looking good at 2-8, playing a division opponent in the Steelers, who are looking to be 9. They're already 8-2. They're trying to be 9-2, I believe.
Correct.
They're on a big win streak. They're looking pretty good defensively, very good defensively, pretty good on the offense. I don't think Cleveland stands a chance in this one, so Pittsburgh.
I'm taking Pittsburgh as well. I feel like with Russell Wilson and the way that this offense is going, they're doing a phenomenal job, and this will be another year that Mike Tomlin keeps that legacy alive of being above 500.
Absolutely. And then the Giants got a new quarterback. I'm surprised they went with Tommy DeVito and not Drew Lock, because I feel like Drew Lock has actual potential to be a starting quarterback. But regardless, Tampa Bay, they've been playing good even without their weapons, but they just can't win. They've been putting up a lot of points. I'm still going with Tampa Bay here.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those teams where you look at the Giants and they don't really have a lot on offense whatsoever. I feel like they want somebody with a little bit more stabilization, and that's why they went with Tommy DeVito. But again, they're still the New York Giants right now, and the Bucs are a team that's got some weapons with Baker Mayfield playing very good football. I'm going to take the Bucs as well in this game.
And then you got the Lions against the Colts. The Lions are looking to keep pace for the 1 seed, and the Colts are looking to try to get to that 7 seed. They're 5-6, and they're at home. But at the end of the day, Lions look really good right now. And again, Indianapolis isn't a great team, but they seem like Richardson played the game of his life last week, and they can run the football. Maybe they can keep it close. I don't know, but I'm still going with the Lions.
Yeah, this game for me, I mean, you look at what the Lions did last week against another AFC South team in the Jacksonville Jaguars. They slaughtered them completely. And the Colts last week, they did a phenomenal job going up against the New York Jets, getting the Jets GM and Joe Douglas fired. This is going to be a closer game than a lot of people think. I think that the spread is going to be very good, but I'm going to take the Lions to win this one.
When you got Houston and Tennessee, I mean, Houston ended up winning by a lot last game, but overall they haven't really looked good. Even when they beat us, they didn't really look good. I don't think they've really looked great all year except for against New England. Other than that, they just look like a shell. Even when they had Diggs and everybody healthy, they just didn't look that great. But again, Tennessee isn't that great either. Houston's at home. I think Houston wins this football game.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you on this one. I feel like the Texans, yes, they have a good defense right now, and they are a decent team, but it's just the quarterback play again. That's what it comes down to in a lot of these games for me. Will Levis versus CJ Stroud. I'm going to trust CJ Stroud on this, and I feel like this game is going to be closer than the spread overall of 7.5. I feel like this is going to be closer than that, but I'm still going to take the Texans to beat the Titans in this game.
All right. So a lot of divisional matchups coming up. So we had the Steelers, Browns, Texans, Titans, Patriots, Dolphins. And, the Patriots have been looking pretty good with Drake May. Obviously, they haven't won a lot of games, but they're in a lot of games. Their offensive line has been better. Drake May has been pretty great, considering. And the Dolphins look a lot better with Tua. They've been winning a couple games. They lost to us and the Cardinals. And because there's not many choices to pick from this week, I'm picking New England for the upset. Divisional matchup. Drake May's been playing good. The Dolphins haven't seen Drake May. Now, would I be surprised if the Patriots get destroyed? No. Tua's undefeated against the Patriots, but I was more comfortable picking New England based on how they've been playing against pretty good teams, rather than like Dallas over Washington. So I'm going to pick New England.
Yeah, when I looked at this game, I mean, it came down to a couple of things for me. Number one, yes, Drake May is playing some very good football, but I fell for that New England curse of trying to hit them on an upset. It's not working out for me. I'm going to take the Dolphins in this game. They need to continue on in order to stay in the division race, but I feel like this is a game that's going to be very close, and we'll see what happens. But I think the Dolphins are in the right trajectory towards competing in this AFC East again.
Yeah, the Dolphins, they got to try to keep it. They're behind the Colts and they're behind the Broncos and they're one ahead of the Bengals, but they got to keep up and they got to keep winning. And then you got Dallas, another divisional matchup, heading to Washington. You know, the poor Cowboys, they just too many injuries. They didn't do enough moves in the offseason. Just nothing's working out for them. Commanders, they slowed down a lot. They don't look that great, but I still think they'll do enough. Jaden Daniels has had a pretty decent year, and their defense has been pretty solid. Their O-line's been pretty solid. They got some weapons, so I think they'll win at home.
Yeah, when I looked at this game, Sean, I mean, to me, number one, the Commanders have slowed down quite a bit. Don't get me wrong. I look at the Cowboys, and they don't have Dak Prescott. If this were Dak Prescott in here, I would totally take the Cowboys as the upset here. But they have Cooper Rush. I know that they need to get things done right now. They do have CeeDee Lamb there that's playing. They didn't look that great last week on Monday Night Football. I'm just saying that right now. Man, I look at this and I say, when is it time to fire Mike McCarthy? And I think it's going to be after this week, after a divisional loss to the Commanders. I'm going to take the Commanders to win this week, and then Mike McCarthy is going to be fired as the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys.
All right, and then you got another divisional matchup, the Vikings at the Bears. Bears basically, they're not out of the playoffs technically, but because their wild card teams are like 7-3, it's probably not looking good for them. And they're playing the Vikings, who are one of the wild card teams. So if they want to try to keep their season alive, they're going to have to beat this good Vikings team at home. I just don't see it. Minnesota slowed down a little bit too, but I think their defense is good enough and they have enough power on offense to score a little bit more than the Bears in a low-scoring game.
I feel like this is going to be a low-scoring game, and I feel like with last week, how the Bears played, they played some pretty good football, especially having a new offensive coordinator come in. This is going to be one of those close games where I feel like it's going to come down to a field goal in this scenario. I'm going to take the Bears as my upset of the week with Caleb Williams, new offensive coordinator, another week with him. The Vikings have slowed down a little bit. Don't get me wrong. Sam Darnold is not as spectacular as he was. And don't get me wrong, the Vikings defense is very good. But this Bears defense is pretty good as well. I'm not going to lie. So I'm going to take the Bears as my upset of the week and try and cash in and get some more points on this board.
All right. And you got the Chiefs at the Panthers. I mean, is there much to say about that? I can't remember the last time the Chiefs lost 2 in a row, and it's Carolina. So Chiefs got to win this game, right?
Chiefs are going to win this game. That's all I have to say.
Yeah. And you got another divisional matchup, Denver against the Raiders. Raiders are not looking good at all. They're one of the teams I thought was going to be pretty solid. Not, make the playoffs, but maybe spoil some games for people and have a chance, but they had some injuries. They don't have a quarterback. Brock Bowers looks very, very good, and they have no run game, so that kind of sucks for them. And the Broncos, they've definitely exceeded everybody's expectation. Bo Nix has been, after the first 4 or 5 games or so, he's been really solid. And their defense is great, probably one of the best. I'm going with Denver.
Yeah, you look at what Sean Payton has done with Bo Nix, and this is an incredible transformation. And I feel like the combination of Sean Payton with Bo Nix for the next few years is going to be incredible. And it reminds me back to the days of Drew Brees in his prime with Sean Payton. Now you have a young quarterback that's ascending into one of the best in the NFL. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that he is the best yet, but he's ascending into one of the good quarterbacks in the NFL. And I feel like with some more talent around him, he's only going to get better. So I'm going to take the Broncos to win this game. The Raiders, yes, they do have some talent on defense with Christian Wilkins as well as Max Crosby, but I just feel like this team is kind of in that scenario where they're trying to go for Shedeur Sanders in the draft, so they're not going to compete this year.
All right, and then you got the final divisional matchup, the Cardinals at the Seahawks. And Seahawks had a great win versus the 49ers. That was the first time they beat them in a long time. And now the 49ers are actually in last place at 5-5. So this division is still up in the air with the Cardinals leading. The Seahawks have a chance to take the division. Again, love the Seahawks, love how they play, but they're too so for me right now. The Cardinals are on a 4-game win streak. They do play again in 2 weeks, so I'll maybe make a better decision then. But I'm going to pick the Cardinals here to stay hot and see what they do.
Yeah, I look at this game and I mean, it's going to be a close one. Don't get me wrong, and I'm kind of back and forth on this one, and it's a tough one. I feel strongly that the Cardinals are one of those really good teams. They have some good weapons and everything, but if Marvin Harrison Jr. is playing this week, which I don't believe he will, that concerns me. So I'm going to take the Seahawks in this one to win. But under a provisional allowance, if Sean allows me to do this, if Marvin Harrison Jr. plays, I would take the Cardinals.
It's got to make the choice now.
I'm going to take the Seahawks.
All right. I don't mind that pick at all. I wanted to pick them, but because they play in 2 weeks, I want to see how they play this time. And if they do a good job, obviously they're at home, but I'll be able to make a better choice. Because, again, Seahawks have been like win, loss, and just got to see. You got Niners and Packers. Packers, pretty good team, has some struggles, turn the ball over a lot. Niners, really good team, well coached, but have lost their way a little bit. I'm going to take the Packers at home just because it's the home team and should be a really good game.
This is going to be a great game. Don't get me wrong. And when you look at the 49ers right now, this is a franchise that's just, man, battered right now. I mean, who would have expected the team that was representing the NFC in the Super Bowl to go from a team that could potentially not make the playoffs to where they are now? I mean, this is incredible. I feel like the 49ers are going to figure it out. They're going to come together with Kyle Shanahan leading the way. But they have a tough road ahead. I mean, they have some tough games against Buffalo. They have a tough game against the Packers coming up. I look at this one, and I feel like the 49ers are going to win it, but I do not know for certain. I'm going to take the Packers, though. Even though I feel like the 49ers are going to win this one, I don't know enough about the 49ers right now, and I don't trust them enough to take them. I feel like they lost a big piece with Brandon Ayuk being out. That hurt them quite a bit. They're still trying to find an identity with Christian McCaffrey, too, so it's going to be tough. But don't get me wrong. I feel like the 49ers are going to figure it out very shortly. I don't think it's going to be this week. I think it will be next week against Buffalo.
Do you think they're going to beat Buffalo?
I have a feeling they will. I think they're going to give them a run for their money.
And you picked the Chiefs last week to beat Buffalo. Now you're going to pick the Niners to beat Buffalo. But I hope they beat the Packers because then it will make our win against them a better win. But yeah, the Niners need a win because again they're in last place in that division at 5-5, and if either the Seahawks or the Seahawks or the Cardinals are going to win this week, so either way they're not going to be in first place, but they got to try to keep pace. Then you got the hot Eagles going against the Rams. They did lose against Miami, but they're okay. They have great players. They're at home, but the Eagles are just hot right now. Saquon can't be stopped. Their defense is really good, so I'm going to pick the Eagles until they lose.
Eagles are looking phenomenal. They got Saquon Barkley doing incredible things there. And Jalen Hurts is starting to trend up even more, too. He's starting to look even better. Give me the Eagles in this one, but I feel like this is going to be very close, and Puka Nacua is going to go off again this week.
Now, the final game, I went with the Ravens. It's a hardball. The Harbaugh brothers are coaching against each other for the first time, I think, since the Super Bowl a while ago. I was a junior in high school when this happened. It was when the lights went out at the Super Bowl, I remember. But it's tough because the Chargers, they do have a great defense, but they got cooked by Burrow last week. And then, you saw the Chargers offense do a good job, but the Bengals have a bad defense. Now, the Ravens also have a bad defense, but are they going to run the ball with Henry a lot and get cooking? Are the Chargers going to be able to stop them? I don't see the Ravens losing 2 in a row. I want to go with the Ravens, but I feel like the Chargers can really win this game. But I think I'm going to stick with the Ravens here.
Man, I go back and forth on this one. I'm not going to lie to you. This is one of those games where, I never want to use the get out of jail free card, but this is a scenario where I would use it because it's a game that it's just too close to call. It really is. I'm starting to trend towards the Chargers. The Chargers are playing some very good football, but I want the Chargers to win this one. Don't get me wrong, because Justin Herbert is playing good, and I want the Ravens to not make the playoffs. Give me the Chargers to win this one.
Okay.
It makes the seeding even harder for the Bills.
Yeah. And then you got the bye week coming up. You got the Bengals, the Falcons, the Bills, the Jets, the Jags, and the Saints. Good to have the late bye week, especially when you're 9-2. And again, we're 7-0 with McDermott off the bye. Granted, we don't look, our best football after the bye, but we still end up winning. And the Niners are still a good team. We'll be playing against them. We'll see how they look this week. But they lost last week to a team they haven't lost to in a while. Even with McCaffrey, they don't look that good. So we'll see. But that wraps it up for us, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Go Bills.
Go Bills.